Okay, welcome to Better Life U. Lennorage, is that right? Did I say it right? Welcome, Kay. I see Kay Hunter has joined us. Welcome, Kay.
Hello.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome, Penny Lewis. And guys, if you have cameras and you're able to turn your camera on, we would appreciate that. Hello, Ted Snyder.
Hello, hello.
Mr. McConnery, welcome. Can't hear you, Trevor. I can see you, but I can't hear you. Tap your screen and hit the little microphone down there. Maybe you're muted.
There you go, Bill. How you doing, brother?
Oh, there we go. I can hear you now. I'm doing great, man. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. All right, guys, we got about 2 minutes. All right, there's Sherry. Hello, Sherry. Welcome. Believe it or not, we still have people registering right up to the last minute. So, all right, guys, we're going to about another minute here.
Hi, everyone. Trisha Vaughn here.
Hello, Tricia. We see you dialed in on the phone. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bob has joined us. Leonard has joined us. Welcome, guys. All right, there's Lou and Jacqueline have joined us. Welcome, Lou.
Yes, sir. How you doing, Mr. Guyther?
I'm doing wonderful, sir. Thank you for joining us this evening. Give about another 30 seconds and we will get started. All right, Mr. Snyder, you want to kick us off, sir?
I sure will. Welcome, everybody, to Better Life U. Y'all able to hear me all right?
Yes.
We got you. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, welcome, everybody, to Better Life U. My name is Ted Snyder. I'm actually a graduate of Better Life U, but hopefully, like many of you already realize, that if you stop learning, you stop growing as an individual. So Better Life U is an important part of my life, and I'm really excited that, we're kicking off another round of it today. I love this. It's already affecting and impacting my life, and it's, just setting aside this time for the next 5 days is going to be one of the most intelligent things you could ever do for your life. I really believe that I'm seeing the results for myself. And I'm excited because today we're going to be hearing from Mr. Guyther. He is an incredible person. He's, just to tell you a little bit about Bill, he's the owner of several businesses. He's a published author as well. One of his businesses, he's built from home a residual income of 6 figures a year. And when I learned that about Bill originally, he was somebody that I approached and said, you know what, I really could use some mentoring. I really like some coaching on how I can do that as well. And we started a process about 1.5 years ago where he just invested in me on a daily basis. And you guys, it has impacted me so positively. I'm really excited that you guys get to hear from him specifically tonight. Get a pen and paper ready, and I'm going to recommend you get a few sheets of paper because there's a lot of stuff to write down and a lot of stuff to apply to our lives. So with that, Bill, I'm going to kick it over to you, sir.
Hey, fantastic. Thank you so much, Ted. And, guys, there's an old saying that, you never really have success until you have a successor. And that's really where, I am in my life today is we're just really trying to teach people some of the things and the business principles that, we have learned. And I am excited to be doing this second round of Better Life U. It's just something that I dreamed up, several months ago, actually, that I was going to do this. And it took me a few months to put it all together and get the buy-in from some important people to make it, good. And we kicked it off last month. We had a really good turnout last month. We had some really good feedback. And so I just want to welcome you to round 2 of Better Life U. And the purpose of Better Life U is really simple. Just to give people, success principles, foundational success principles that they can apply into their current day-to-day to help them build a better life. We've learned over the years that there really are simple things that anybody can do that will help increase their results, give them better results. And that's really what we want to do. I mean, if you've read my book, Escaping the Trap, it's the whole book is just about opening people's minds and giving them the ability and the tools to go out and be able to build a better life and whatever they're using for their vehicle to do that. So, the purpose is really just to give people that information, pay it forward. I have a foundational philosophy in my business. I borrowed it from Zig Ziglar, who I learned about many years ago, that if you help enough people get what they want, you will get everything that you want. And I think sometimes people don't take that as literal as it needs to be. They take that as, well, help enough people. If you're in a direct sales company or something on your team or enough people in your company. And it doesn't say any of that. It just says help enough people. And I wake up every day with the mindset of how can I help somebody today, right? Can I help them with, what I do for a living or one of my other companies, or can I help them just by paying them a good compliment and making them feel good? Or can I help somebody change a tire? I'm notorious for pulling over on the side of the road and helping people change tires and, picking people up and giving them a ride or giving people money or whatever I can do to help people, feel better about themselves and have a better day. Because I just know if you help enough people get what they want, you will get everything that you want. So this is a 5-day course. Couple of housekeeping rules I guess we could give you is, number one is if you're on with your camera, we would request that you have your camera on while you are in the course. When you turn your camera off, it's like you've gone to the bathroom. We don't know if you're really paying attention. We can't see you. And we want this to be interactive, right? I want to ask you questions. Thank you, Lou. And if I put my hand up, I want you to be able to put your hand up, see if you acknowledge it. I mean, this is a training, right? And it's not something that we're just, barking information at you. We want this to be interactive, and we can only do that if you are interacting with us. So we ask that you keep your camera on the majority of the time. Again, if you need to turn it off for a minute to go to run to the bathroom or take a phone call or something like that, that's fine. But, when you come back, please turn your camera on so we know that you are participating in the course with us. You also have to be on this at the end of tonight's course. We will give you the link to the next course. Okay, you can only get to course number 2 if you were at course number 1, and you can only go to course number 3 if you were at course number 2, and 4 if you were at 3, and on and on and on. We don't put it out there because what we're looking for is people that are really committed to building a better life. And we want to, give you that mindset that it's going to take for you to do that. And, being committed to just a simple 5-day course, 1 hour per course, to me, that's something. And there were some people last month that, I know that they changed some things around because they knew if I missed one, then I can't go to the next one. I can't get, then they have to wait. And we're only doing this once a month. And just so you guys know too, this is not something we're doing forever. We're only going to do this through the end of the year right now, every once a month through the end of the year. So we did it in August. We're going to do September right now, October, November, and December. Then we're going to plan to review it. If we had good enough feedback and people want to continue, have us continue, then we may do that. But as of right now, it's only scheduled to do 3 more. What is it? October? Yeah, three more courses between now and the end of the year. So make sure that you stick around to get that link at the end. So our courses, our agenda for this week are 5 courses, our 5 topics, just to let you guys know, and who our trainers are going to be. And I'm excited because we have the same trainers on this series that we had last month, which I was really excited about because these guys are busy and I didn't know if they'd be able to do it, and I thought I'd have to find other trainers, and we will have other ones, I'm sure, between now and the end of the year. And I have lots of great contacts of people that are absolutely living a better life that can come in and give us some of these trainings. But tonight you're going to hear from me. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about your why, and we'll get more into that in just a minute. Tomorrow night, the topic for tomorrow night is your mindset versus your skill set. Okay, your mindset versus your skill set, and that's going to be taught by Miss Camelia, who currently resides in Mexico. Down there, and I mean, she's Canadian, she's American, she lives in Mexico, and she's building a North American business. So she's got a great story. She'll share her story with you. And then on Tuesday night, we're going to have the 3rd course, Setting and Achieving Goals, by Mr. Mike Melia, who again is living a better life. It's Kim Melia's business partner. And then on day 4, Wednesday night, the topic is personal development. And that's going to be taught by a gentleman by the name of Chip Humphrey. If you know Mr. Humphrey out of Florida, there really is nobody that I know of that's living a better life than that gentleman. He is just all about, living a happy life. And then on day 5, I'm going to come back and close us out, and we're going to be talking about your law of associations and your vehicle to help you build a better life. And so that's the agenda for the whole week, and it's going to be phenomenal. I mean, I'm just telling you guys, the information it's incredible. So if you make sure you want to be on for all of those. So tonight though, we want to talk about your why, and here's kind of my story. Okay, Ted gave me a nice introduction, and I do appreciate that. And by the way, Ted is in Minnesota, and I'm actually going to be flying out this coming Thursday to the state of Minnesota. I'm going to be doing some live trainings out there, and we're doing. My book is called Escaping the Trap. And we're going to be doing a Escaping the Trap Minnesota seminar, and just really training out of that book and stuff like that. But my story is pretty simple. I did everything that I was supposed to do. I went to school. I got an education. I hit corporate America. I worked my way up, in corporate America to an executive position in the advertising industry. I was running a magazine in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I met this gentleman who's on the Zoominar here with us tonight, Mr. Matt Curry. Matt, you can raise your hand. He's with us there. And he told me about the direct sales industry and about a particular company. We're not here to plug any companies tonight, but I didn't know what I was going to do when I lost my job, and he had told me about it. And I said, you know what, let's see what we can do with this thing. So I got started with that company. I learned about one thing most important, residual income, okay, which is something that we really, if you want to free yourself today, guys, the only way to really do that is through residual income. And happiness comes from freedom. Believe me when I tell you, when you no longer have to get up in the morning and go to a job and punch a clock and let your boss tell you what to do, and your time is your own, and money is not an issue and time is not an issue, it's very easy to be happy in that situation. I mean, I see my friend Ron on here. He's out there. He's living a better life. He's got boats and yachts and all that good stuff out there. And I'm waiting on him to invite me to come out riding on him one day. Hey, Ron, good to see you, man. but you know what? It's time freedom, and I'm sure Ron would tell you, having the time to go out. I mean, you can have all the toys. Well, it's good having a big boat or camping gear, but you have no time to go and do those things, to go and enjoy those things, right? So time is our most precious commodity. Today I have built a 6-figure-a-year residual income. We've made over $1 million with one particular company working from home. I have 2 other companies that I run, an online buying and selling website that has more than 1 million users that I dreamed up about, I don't know, like 2011, so about 7-8 years ago, something like that. Now I'm an author, and we're selling some books and getting a lot of feedback from that. And the bottom line is I'm an entrepreneur. And Jim Rohn, I think, said it best that when he said making money is not hard, right? You buy a bar of soap for $1 and you sell it for $2, and that's 100% profit, right? He said, I teach children how to have 2 bicycles, one to ride and one to rent. And that's the mindset that we really want to give people, is that money is not something that's hard to come by. Matter of fact, as we're going to get into this week, you're going to hear about affirmations and all kinds of things that are going to help you attract success and money into your life. So that's just really kind of my story. My daughter has never not known both of her parents to be stay-at-home parents, which has been a blessing in itself. My wife hasn't had a job in 18 years. and we just continue to go out and help other people. Now, along the way, we learn some lessons. Some of them we learn the hard way. And that's really what Better Life You is about, is to teach you some of the things that we've learned along the way, to give you the tools and the knowledge to prepare you for, the things that you're going to encounter. Things like as soon as you really make a decision to build a better life, like truly make the decision that, I am not going to settle for what life is giving me. I'm not going to settle for, this hourly wage job that I have. I am going to really attack life and go after it. Let me just tell you, life is going to attack you back. And you have to be prepared for that. It's going to hit you with everything you got. I've seen people make that decision, and like the next day, somebody in their family died, or their dog get hit by a car, or all of a sudden their whole relationship is on the rocks, or they get an illness, or they get sick, or what. I see it over and over and over again that, these kind of things happen as soon as somebody's really made a decision. And I'm going to just tell you that a lot of people will look at those things that happen, those circumstances, and say, oh, well, I guess I'm not supposed to have what it is that I was going for. I'm not supposed to have that better life that I wanted to have. And I'm here to tell you that that's some stinking thinking. I prefer to look at it as, hey, these are just tests to make sure that I deserve what it is that I'm going to get, right? I look at those as, signs that I am heading in the right direction. Over, the course of my entrepreneurial life, the last 19 years, things got tough sometimes. And I've had life hit me with some stuff. Don't think for one second that, because we've done okay over the years and we've freed ourselves, that, life hasn't hit us, that we don't have, issues going on in our life. And there is a difference. This is you're taking notes. There is a difference between an issue and a problem. Okay. And it's important. This was something that was very important for me to understand, is the difference in an issue and a problem. Okay. An issue is anything that you could write a check to resolve, right? If you had the money that you could just write a check and resolve it, that's just an issue. A problem is like, terminal cancer. That's a problem. You can't write a check and resolve that. And for me, when I came to understand the difference between an issue and a problem, it really made me change my own language, made me change what I was saying to myself, and made me look at things a little bit differently as they arose in my life. And, having money, money is not, everything. We've all heard it, right? Zig Ziglar said, money's not everything, but when you don't have any, it ranks right up there with oxygen, right? You got to have some in today's world, but it's not money. It's what you do with the money that matters. Okay, money just makes you more of who you are. If you're a good person and you have money, you're going to be a better person. If you're a bad person and you have money, you're going to be a worse person. I've seen that happen over and over and over. So it's not always about the money. It's what you can do with the money that really is most important. So, know that the attack will come. It's important for you to understand that. And this is why it's important for you to know exactly why it is that you want to have a better life. Okay? Guys, not identifying what your why is absolutely positively going to end up making you quit. You're going to quit because you don't have the answer to that, right? People quit all kinds of things. People quit families, people quit churches, people quit jobs, people quit relationships. I mean, the reality is people just quit. And guess what? When things get going, that old saying, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. I mean, that's true. People, they don't think they deserve it sometimes. And you have to be able to work through that. And you're going to have a day in your journey to build a better life that you're going to ask yourself, it's going to be that tough of a day that it's just going to hit you and you're going to be exhausted, mentally exhausted. And I don't know if you guys have ever, been mentally exhausted, but to me, being mentally exhausted is much more difficult than being physically exhausted. So when you have that day and you say to yourself, man, I don't even know why I'm doing this. If you don't have that answer clearly defined, that's when you quit. Okay? You have to know the answer to that question. Why am I doing this? Why do I want a better life? Why am I trying to free myself? Okay? These are all things that you have to be able to know the answer to immediately. So when life's hitting you and you're questioning whether you should be doing this, do you deserve it? Can you make it happen? Why are you doing it? You know the answer to that clearly. I think a lot of people's why, to give you some of your why, in today's world, and it's in my book, and just so you guys know, I'm not here to sell you my book tonight. As a matter of fact, before we get off here, I'm going to give you a promo code to go and get a free audio copy of my book. Okay, so I'm just going to give it to you for free so you can go and listen to it. Because in today's world, I think part of everybody's why, if you're working, for somebody else, should be to understand that as long as you are working for somebody else, your destination and your circumstances are all in their hands. It happened to me twice in 2 years. I found myself involuntarily unemployed, no fault of my own, and that happens to millions of people. Show of hands of those of you that are on here tonight. How many of you on here tonight have ever found yourself unemployed at no fault of your own? Okay, so that's half the people that are on here tonight, at least. And that's the reality of today's world. See, it used to be we had company loyalty, and we had, you would work for a company for 40 years and you would retire with a pension. You were loyal to the company was loyal to you, but that's not the case anymore. It's not about that anymore. Now, you're lucky if by the time you've worked your 40 years as an adult, if you've done that with, 10 jobs. That's typically the way, right? It's multiple jobs over that 40-year period. And then here's the other reality. When you try and retire, if you haven't built something substantial, then you're probably going to keep working basically until you die. And that's a scary thought, right? I mean, it's something that, and you can see it with our senior citizens today. I mean, you go to any fast food store or Walmart, you're going to find senior citizens working in those places today. And that's a problem, because the way our circle of flow is supposed to go is, you get a job as a teenager in a fast food place, and then you go to school, you develop a skill, and you move to a higher paying job, and you're supposed to come out of the job force, at 65 or 70 years old, and that's supposed to continue to flow just like that. You retire and you go home. But what's happening is people are getting to the end of that now. They're coming out of that job force. They're realizing that they don't even have enough money to retire. And instead of coming out of that flow, they're circling back now, and they're taking those jobs, those entry-level jobs again, right, at fast food places and Walmart and all that stuff. And this is why, we don't have as many jobs available as we used to have. And it's just the reality. So I hope that part of your why today is so that you can, become more independent. We think we're dependent today. we do think that, right? You're all grown up. We're adulting out there, right? We're raising our family. We're paying for our mortgages, so we're independent, right? And we think we're independent until somebody takes our income away. And then we find out exactly how dependent we really were. And it's not a good situation. Several of you have already raised your hand. I don't have to explain to you. So this is one of the reasons, and I want to give you this why, to make it a part of your why, that you have to really do something that's going to free you from that situation, because it's going to likely happen. It doesn't happen to everybody, but it happens to the majority today. The majority today end up in that situation, okay? So hopefully that's a part of your why. But the rest of your why is really up to you. Now, let me say this about your why. It is a living document. It is not just a one-time sit down, this is why I'm doing this kind of a thing. Okay? It needs to be something that can change and will change, right? My why has changed many times over the years. When I first got started, my why was for me and my wife to be able to live a good life, or a better life. And then my daughter was born, and my why changed drastically because my daughter was born, right? And then my daughter started going to school and doing sporting events and doing different things. And my why changed at that point because I wanted to be a part of all of that. I wanted to coach her teams and stuff like that. So your why will change over the years, but your why is something that needs to be written down. So the very first thing I want to say to you is, and this is your homework tonight. So if you're taking notes, I'm going to give you some homework tonight. This is one part of your homework tonight, is to sit down and spend some time, maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, maybe an hour. I don't know. It's up to you. But really writing down your why. Why do you want a better life? Why do you want, to not have to worry about money? Why do you want to own your time and not have to worry about what it's going to cost you to do that, right? Retirement has nothing to do with age. It has to do with finances. I retired at the age of 35 for 3 years. Didn't really do anything at all for 3 years. Let me mute that out. There we go. All right, sorry about that. So really identify that. So that's going to be your first part of your homework tonight, is to sit down and write your why. Now, here's some things about your why. They say, and I've always been taught, that your why needs to be solid enough and deep enough that it would make you cry when you think about it, right? It's an emotional thing. It's not a mind thing. It's an emotional thing, right? And emotion is so important. I mean, we move on emotion, and it's what's going to drive you. And I know that a lot of times people say, oh, well, I want to make more money. Well, listen, everybody wants to make more money. Oh, I want to have more time freedom. Everybody wants to have more time freedom. I need you to dig deeper than that. I need you to ask yourself, if you already had all the money, if money was an issue, right? You could go buy a house today and pay cash for it if you wanted to. You could go buy a Lamborghini today and pay cash for it if you wanted to. Right? Money was literally not an issue for you. Likely, that would mean that time is now not an issue for you. You're not clocking in. You're not having to go to work because the money is there. Right? Sometimes I meet people that do what they do because they just absolutely 100% love it. More often than not, most people do what they do because they have to. And that's the reality today. So if you already have all the money and you already have all the time, what then would you do? What would your life look like? Who would you give money to? What would you donate it to? Where would you spend your time? What things would you buy for yourself? What things would you buy for others? Right? And really dig deep. So who's somebody that's on here tonight that would like to work this exercise with me? Anybody want to participate with me here? You can raise your hand or unmute yourself and speak up. Okay, Ted, we'll go to you since you raised your hand. All right, unmute yourself for me, Ted.
Yes, sir. All right.
All right. So, Ted, talk to me about why you want a better life.
Well, let's see. I want to be able to, at any point, be able to just treat my family to what I feel like they really deserve. Like my kids have watched me work for the last 10, 15, well, as long as they've been alive, obviously. And being able to have that freedom to be able to just kind of do whatever they want to do, not just the time freedom, but also the money freedom to be able to do stuff with the time.
Okay. And why is that important to you?
Well, especially, I mean, they're young kids right now. So like 9, 7, and 3. And I don't want to look back and feel like I missed out on their childhood.
Okay. And why is that important to you?
I didn't see my dad a lot growing up. He was always at work, and when he was home, he was super tired. And I really like my dad a lot. I just wish I would have been able to have that. And I think that that's something that I can actually give them if I plan correctly and I do this, and actually get the time and the money freedom, right?
Right. So we dug right down into that just by continuing to ask why, to really get down to the meat of why he wants to provide that. And he wants to provide that because he felt a pain from his childhood with his father working so much. Okay? Not that he doesn't love his dad, not that he doesn't appreciate that, but he doesn't want that for his children. Right? That was a pain. So what kind of things, would you buy your children or provide for your family, physical type things if you had all the stuff?
Yeah. Definitely just like nice clothes that, they're not going to get made fun of at school or whatever. That was something that we dealt with a lot growing up. We weren't like super poor, but all the clothes were hand-me-downs and that kind of stuff. And just having them be able to have nice things that aren't just like, here, play with the cardboard box from, the thing, because we can't afford to get you a nice toy and stuff.
Outside of your family.
Oh,
you wake up. I said outside of your family. You wake up in the morning. Money's not a problem. You got the day to do whatever you want. What does your life look like?
I want to be able to volunteer my time a lot more.
Okay, why do you want to volunteer your time?
I feel like that. Well, I'm a person of faith. I'm a Christian, and that I just feel like that's what is actually kind of expected of me is to actually be able to serve people selflessly. Okay.
So, I mean, we dug deep into that one. All right. So, I mean, look, you guys get the point. When you put down what your why, then ask yourself, why do I want to do that? Well, I want to be able to, and you can just keep asking yourself, why, until you get to the real core of why it is you want a better life. Why it is that you're willing to do what it's going to take to have that better life. Because it's not going to be easy, guys. If it was easy to be rich, everybody'd be rich. It's not easy. But it is simple if you stick with it. If you stay the course, if you stay after it, right? And you're driven and you know why it is that you're going to do that. So was that beneficial for you guys to see, how we're going to do it? I mean, why you're going to break it down, or how you break that down into those things. Now, the other thing is outside of your why, you can do that same thing when you start to put together your plan, right? If you're thinking, okay, I need to do this, that, then you can ask yourself how. Okay, this is what you can just do. I'm just use money. I want to make $100,000 this year. How are you going to make $100,000? And start asking yourself, okay, well, I can do this. I need to get this many customers. I need to sell this much product, or I need to, make this much profit margin, or whatever it is. Okay, how are you going to do that? How are you going to do that, right? And just keep saying how. So your why works the same way. Why do you want it? Why do you really want that? Why? And dig deep into what is going to drive you and write it down. Okay, guys, you're going to learn on this course this whole week that writing things down is so important to make things happen. Okay, understand that thoughts are things. And when you have a thought of something that you would like to have, something that you desire, something that would make your life better, if it's just a thought, it's a dream. If you write it down, it's a goal. Two different things. And something about having that thought and bringing that thought through your body and out your arm and into that pencil and onto a piece of paper changes the game. Okay? I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. It was probably like, it was March, actually, March this year. I have a friend of mine, his name is Russell, lives in Virginia, calls me up, and he said, Bill, man, I got to tell you this story. I said, okay. He said, I started thinking about some things that I wanted to accomplish, and I grabbed a notebook and a pen, and I started writing things down. And he said, man, within a day, one of the things I wrote down happened. He said, and a couple days later, one of the other things I wrote down happened. And he said, a few days after that, one of the other things I wrote down happened. And he's like, man, I was just blown away. Now, this guy is somebody that could absolutely be doing this training, okay? He's done very well in his life. But he just said to me, he said, I just forgot how powerful writing things down can be. And then after I got off of that phone call, I said, you know what? I need to write some things down too. And I wrote some things down. And one of the things that I wrote down was I wanted to meet somebody that lived in Dallas, Texas, because I was going to Dallas, Texas that month. And I said, I want to meet somebody in Dallas, Texas that I can go into business with before I go to Dallas. And I wrote that down. And I was very clear, very specific about it. That day, I was on social media, and I connected with this guy. And I started talking to him and about what he does, and he started asking me about what I do, and we shared some business philosophies and everything, and I gave him some information, and we got on the phone, and we talked a little bit, and he finally said, I mean, literally within 24 hours, he says, man, I'd really like to partner with you on this deal. And I said, okay, great. So we're talking, and I go, by the way, where do you live? Anybody want to guess where he lived?
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas. Okay? Just like that, it happens. Okay? So there's something magical about writing things down and knowing what your why is and writing that why down and making it very clear and very specific and deep, right? You got to dig deep. Like I see Trevor and his wife sitting out there, and you guys should talk about your why. Make sure that you guys are on the same page and those things are congruent and that you're working together as one to go and get that why and accomplish that why. Okay, and that way there's no question, no confusion. Write it down together. Maybe even here's a great exercise for couples. You write down a why and you write down a why, and then you read it to each other, and then you combine them and meet in the middle on your why. Okay, but knowing why you are going to build a better life is what's going to keep you in the game. It's what's going to keep you going after it. Because I'm going to tell you something. Here's the other thing. Comfort is the enemy of success. Okay, let me say that one more time. Comfort is the enemy of success. Now, maybe you're not rich, but you're comfortable. What does that mean? Well, your bills are pretty much paid. You're not starving. You got a car. You can put some gas in the car, right? So maybe you're just living paycheck to paycheck, but those things are happening. So you are comfortable. You're not happy. You're not, over the top, eccentric, whatever you want to call it. But you're comfortable. And if you're comfortable, you're not going to drive to change that. So sometimes you have to make yourself a little uncomfortable. The people that I know that are successful in life, at one point or another, they were very uncomfortable. They had hit rock bottom. They had been flat on their back. They had dealt with, and that stands true for probably about everybody that you know of that is successful, all the way up to people like, Bill Gates and Donald Trump and Oprah Winfrey and all these people. They all at one point got so uncomfortable that they had to do something different, and it drove them. So maybe check your own life and make sure that that's a part of your why, right? Understand, recognize that you may be more comfortable now than you thought, and identify that. And that will help you as you're doing that. So So Ted Snyder, and Ted is one of my students. He's also a good friend of mine and one of my business partners. But I just have to say that Ted has been, and his wife Lisa both, have been incredible students. And we've spent a lot of time together. You know, I've spent a lot of time coaching them and helping them one-on-one. So Ted, you know, when we first met, and I just met Ted July a year ago. So it hasn't been that long. Ted, tell us your story about what your life looked like July a year ago versus what your life looks like today, and how important was knowing and having written down and what we've talked about here tonight with your why, how important was that to any success you had?
Oh, sure, for sure, Bill. A year ago, my wife and I, Lisa, we had decided that we needed to make a change. I worked in full-time ministry up until this point, and I still wanted to do ministry, but I needed to see my kids more. You know, for me, my first ministry is my family, and so I needed to make sure that I had time at home with them. So we made a whole bunch of changes, and one of them was for me to go part-time at my business, or at that job at the church. And my wife and I were like, we need to make business work now. Like, we have to make a business work so we can work from home, so we can do this. And from that point was, you know, when we started talking with Bill, we started writing down our goals and writing down specifically our why. At that point, our why was our family needs to be together. Like, we need to actually be able to be a family together. And that was so incredibly important, because now, fast forward a year, my wife and I do work from home. We see the kids every single day. When I'm working, my 3-year-old daughter will run in and she'll just hug my leg randomly. And like that, I mean, you know, we talk about being comfortable. The only problem with that is it's so amazing that it makes me comfortable. So I have to find new ways to make myself uncomfortable. But just in a short year of having the why written down, having it in front of our face, and just reminding ourselves of that consistently is the only reason we made it through. There were, especially, you know, your first year in any kind of new business venture is always going to be tough. There were so many times where we needed to sit down and just say, this is why we're doing this. This is why we're not going back to this. This is why I'm not going to get a cubicle job somewhere. This is why I'm not going to, like, it was tough, but the why is what carried us through for sure.
All right, fantastic. So guys, look, I mean, you know, I just wanted him to share that with you because, you know, where we're starting with you tonight is where we start with everybody, right? We have to know why you're doing it. And it's important probably that you share that why with somebody that will hold you to it, right? Somebody that's close to you. So, you know, when you tell them, when you make that declaration, right, you go to your spouse or your kids or your whatever, and you say, you know what, I'm going to change our life. I'm going to go out and I'm going to build us a better life. And this is why I'm doing it. And if you see me getting off track, will you please remind me of what I just told you on why I decided I'm going to do this? And give that person permission to call you out when you are off track. Because you're going to get off track, and that's okay. But being able to get back on track is important. You know, it's said that a rocket on its way to the moon is off track 97% of the time, right? It's just constantly readjusting until it gets to its destination. And that's the way we have to be. We have to be, you know, able to readjust and to, you know, back up and regroup and you know, refocus and revisit our why and make sure that we are steadily going towards our goal. And if you don't know what your why is, I'm just telling you, that place is where you quit. The day is going to come when you're going to say, I don't even know why I'm doing this. You're going to have a tough day that's going to smack you in the face, and you're just going to question why you're even doing it. And if you don't know the answer to that question, that's when you leave. So very important as we start off here tonight to talk to you about your why. Now, having said that, who on the line with us here tonight would like to share with me or with us your why? Anybody care to share your why? You just unmute yourself and start talking or raise your hand. And it can be the beginnings of your why. It doesn't have to be your full why, but talk to us about some things that are important to you. Come on, guys, don't be shy. Go ahead, Luke. Unmute yourself, man. Let's see if I can unmute you.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, Luke.
All right. Well, my why, I kind of say it's kind of like an interesting why, simply because for 30 out of 35 years, I used to run the state of Florida for a big mortgage lender, making extremely high six figures, never $1 million a year, but over 750 to 850 per year for 30 years. Back in 2005, you know, when you memorize dates, you know, like you said earlier, it hurts you, rock bottom. 2005, I was at 879. 2006, I went to 197. And 2007 to 22,000. Then it's when lenders were dropping like flies, if you guys remember the mortgage industry. And so I was one of those casualties. The blessing is that, you know, I believe in having, be good steward of the money. I should have done a lot better, but we were able to put pretty decent high six figures for reserves. Well, after a while, after 5 years, and we started dwindling, because I haven't worked in 15 years. And when it started dwindling, I said, well, listen, I'm a person of faith. Why is this occurring? Then you start doubting, and that lying devil starts putting fear and doubts in your mind. But then I realized, I said, look, I've made high six figures. I've been blessed abundantly. I've been just as, you know, given. I believe in it's best to give than receive and so forth. Then the youth pastor in our church introduced me to the business that I'm currently in right now. And so the funny thing is, when you've made money, it's not that you've forgotten to make money. It's just you got to become a student all over again and learn the protocol of the opportunity that you are dealing with. And so my wife and I, we've been doing well in our business and making some decent income. And my problem is you become too complacent. You know, when you don't need $10,000 a month and you start making $4,000 to $5,000 a month, I'm good. And so my why is to kind of retrain and rewire my whole mindset, so my whole philosophical mindset can help me. Not only help, like you said, the more we help, the more we can succeed in life. So that's what my thought is. My why is to kind of rewire myself and just kind of go back to the good old days. Back to you, Bill.
Absolutely. And guys, listen, he just brought up a great point that brings a great philosophy to mind. And that's that life will give you exactly what you're willing to settle for. Okay? Life will give you exactly what you're willing to settle for. So my advice to you is don't settle. Just don't. No matter where you are, don't settle for it. Comfort is the enemy of success. I mean, if you get comfortable, you're making $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 a month, it's easy to get comfortable there, right? That's where you want to step off the elevator? No. Because here's the other thing, guys. Understand this. I mean, you're going to learn lots of these philosophies and these principles throughout this week. But, all positions in life are temporary. All positions in life are temporary. Right? You just heard Lou's story. He was making $800,000 plus a year, living high on the hog. Probably had all the toys you could think about, and nice house, and he was just happy doing his thing. And then the economy changed, the housing market changed, all that stuff changed, and he became a casualty in that happening. Right? So all positions in life are temporary. That's a warning to the rich and hope for the poor. Okay? So no matter where you are, just know that that's, it's just a temporary position. Now, the other thing that I learned is you don't have to have, I always thought I had to make $250,000 a year, $500,000 a year, $1 million a year in order to really be free. And what I've learned is I only need X amount of dollars consistently every month. And that X amount of dollars consistently every month was much less than what I thought that I had to make a year in order to be free. Right? When we first built our residual income up to about $7,000 a month, I semi-retired for 3 years. Because where I live in Lowell, North Carolina, you can live pretty comfortable on $7,000 a month. And I didn't realize that. I thought I had to make big money, but at $7,000 a month coming in, no matter what, all of a sudden I saw the freedom. Now, I came back and I really got back in the saddle, and after 3 years of really just teaching my daughter's sports teams and going on vacations and enjoying life, I realized that life would give me exactly what I was willing to settle for. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to settle here. This is not where I'm going to settle. See, my why, just ultimately, so you guys know, my why is twofold right now. And it's changed so many times over the years. But right now, I'm driven every day to do more and build that income up, because I know one night or one day I'm going to put my head on a pillow or whatever may happen, and God is going to call me home. And knowing that if that happens, the money coming to my family will not stop, it will not miss a beat, helps me sleep good at night. And that's important to me. I see the things like the jokes on the internet and stuff with two holes dug side by side, and it says, doesn't matter how much money you make, we all still end up in the same size hole. And that may be true. But what you leave for the people standing around that hole matters. That's important. What you do for them when you're gone matters. And that drives me every single day. Now, if you guys want to know my ultimate goal in life, my ultimate why of my entire life is this. And you're going to laugh when I say this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. It's to have the biggest funeral you've ever seen when I die. Because what does that mean? That means that I affected some lives while I was here. I remember when I was about 16 years old, long before personal development and business and all this stuff came into my life, within about a week, I passed 2 funeral processions. One of them had about 8 or 10 cars in the line, and one of them must have had like 300 cars in the line. And I just remember thinking to myself, and I don't remember which one was first, which one was second, but I remember thinking to myself, whoever that was with that big funeral procession, he must have meant a lot to a lot of people. He must have really touched a lot of lives. And that really is my ultimate goal in life. I want to have an impact on this world so that when I die, people will say, you know what, I just feel like I have to go to his funeral. However that may be. So, Jim Rohn is somebody, I'm a huge Jim Rohn fan. He was somebody that's mentored me indirectly. I had the chance to meet him one time before he died. But when he died, I literally cried. I didn't know Jim. I met him once, shook his hand. But when he died, I cried. Because he affected my life. And that's really all I want to do in this life, is affect your life. And I want to reach millions and millions of people. And I hope that with the core group that we have here and we have next month and the people that we're going to have from last month and the next couple of months, that this group of people is going to help us accomplish that. Because I can only accomplish reaching the masses through the few. And you can too. And that's what we want to do for you. So whatever your why is. So that's it tonight. Now, I told you, here's your second piece of homework. I want you to go and download, and listen to my book, Escaping the Trap. Okay? Again, I'm not going to sell it to you. I'm going to give it to you for free. Here's how you get it. You go to Little Books with an S, Little Books of Big Info. littlebooksofbiginfo.com. littlebooksofbiginfo.com. And the audio book that's on the website for $2.99. Go click on that, add it to your cart, and purchase that. And at checkout, use the promo code BetterLifeU. All one word, all lowercase. And that's the letter U, like university. BetterLifeU. Okay? So littlebooksofbiginfo.com. Thank you, Ted Snyder, for putting that in the chat. If you're in the chat box, he put the link in there. and he put the promo code there. Better Life You is the promo code. Go there, the $2.99 individual purchase, grab that one, use promo code Better Life You, and you'll get it for free. But I want you to listen to that. It's going to help you open your mind up. It's going to help you with your why. And it's going to help you through the rest of these courses this week. Okay? The last thing, this is not homework, but it is something that I'm going to highly recommend, is that sometime during the course of this week, the sooner the better, you jump on Netflix and you watch the movie The Secret. Now, maybe you've seen it before. Even if you've seen it before, I'm going to recommend that you watch it again this week. The Secret. Okay? This is all stuff that is going to be so important to you building a better life. So that's your homework tonight, is write your why. Write it down. Be specific. Be clear about it. Right? Dig deep. Why is it important for you to have more money? Why is it important for you to have more time? What would your life look like in the morning when you wake up if you didn't have to worry about money or time and you could do anything you want? And spend some time really writing that down and thinking about it. Identify with it, right? Make sure it hits you at your soul. Listen to the book. Those are your 2 homeworks for tonight. And then if you get a chance tonight or tomorrow or sometime in the this week, watch The Secret. So that's what I have for you guys tonight. I'm going to open it up here. I'm just going to unmute everybody. And that way, if we have any questions, everybody's unmuted. If we have any problems, I will. Any comments or questions from tonight's class? Anybody with anything?
Always great, Bill.
Fantastic. Who was that?
Okay.
Oh, hey, Kay. Thank you very much. All right. Anybody else with any questions, comments, anything else?
Hey, it's Amy. I finally got in on this.
Well, we're glad to have you, Amy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, it's been great.
All right. So, guys, here's the link. I'm putting it in the chat box right now. Now, if you're on the phone and you can't get to the chat box, you can email me or reach out to somebody else that's on the Zoom tonight and get the link. There's the chat box. In the chat box is the link to register for tomorrow night's course. Okay? We have 12 people on here tonight, 13 people. Here's what I know. By the time we get to Thursday, at least half of you won't even be here. I hope that's not true. I hope you prove me wrong. But the reality is that's probably the way it's going to be. So there's the link to go register for tomorrow night. It's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern as well. Again, tomorrow night's topic is mindset versus skill set. And it's going to be taught to you by a lady by the name of Miss Kim Melia. And if you don't know who she is, she's a firecracker, man. She's a ball of fire. She's a giver. She founded an orphanage down in Guatemala, raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to build it and fund it. And she goes and spends time there. She's a giver of her time, a lover of life, and she's full of great information. So there's the link in the chat box to get registered for tomorrow night. It's going to be a great course. Any other final comments before we wrap this up tonight? Going once? Going twice? Okay. Well, guys, we appreciate you all for being on here tonight. Ron says thank you for your servant leadership and sharing your knowledge. Ron, thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
You guys are fantastic. And we will see you back here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you get registered. Make sure you get the registration link that has the link to come back and join us. And we'll see you back here tomorrow night. Everybody have a great night. Stay focused. Feel good. And bye-bye for now.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.